Alright, so in this video, I'll be describing a little bit more in detail as to what happens over here, alright? First of all, we include Iostream. I explained this before, and I explained using namespace std before, but you'll see that every C++ line, except the include and the int main, has to end with a semicolon. It is the key on the right to the L key, basically. Just press that without shift and it should work. Unless you're not having a normal keyboard, that is. So anyways, back to the topic. Let's just cut this out. Now this is something that you can try out with me. Now if you were to do cout, and then now if you see over here, whenever I say cout, it says Ostream. That means it is like output stream, basically, and that's why we use the Iostream thing. See, you get a connection now. And we basically do cout, and then the mouth, you could say, this is in a fancier word, you could call it a directional indicator, but we'll just make it easy. Now let's just say hello there, if I can actually say it. Now I'll save this, and if you see, it won't let me debug or run this at all. 1 minute, actually it will, and I'll just run that, and it'll show me this red dot over here, which basically means there has been an error. And the reason for that error is because, oh wait, yeah, the reason for that error is because basically the computer does not know what this is. So that is why I failed to tell this in the earlier tutorial. You have to surround these in double quotes. It can actually be single quotes also. Let me just show that. Yeah, we'll save this and build and run. And oops, yeah, if you use basically in single quotes, it will show a I believe it's called an octagonal, or octagonal value, I believe, or something like that, basically some fancy name. So instead, what you can just do is simply use double quotes, and we'll save that. Let me close that earlier one and build and run it again. So now we get hello there properly now. All right, so in an earlier tutorial I showed you how to do this. Wait a minute, what is this? It is bugging me. Okay, yeah, I showed you how if I say what is your name, if I save this, I'm gonna close out of this real quick and build and run again, so it does not show a new line. Now there are many ways. Now you could just say cout over here and then say endel, and another way would be within here you can say endl, and the best, and I wouldn't say the best, but one of the ways is just say \n, and then if I build and run this again, then it'll show a line break, basically. So that is what that is. Now I wanted to touch really briefly on variables. All right, we're going to remove this for now. Now even in maths, what variables are, for example, let's say x, and then you have x plus y, all right, and then it equals something which you need to find out. Now what you would define in math would be something like x equals 3, and then 1 minute, and then y equals something like 2, and then you find x plus y and then return it. So basically what you can do instead of that is, first let me show you something without variables. All right, so we say cout 5 plus 2. Now look at this, I am not having any double quotes around these because I'm telling the computer to process this instead of just show it. If I was to do this, it would show me this. It would show 5 plus 2. But if I was to remove this, that means the computer has to process whatever is over here and then display it. So if I was to click this now, it would say 7 because 5 plus 2 is 7, unless you're in some other world or something. In that case, I don't know what. But yeah, So now what we can do is we can create two different strings. I mean two different variables. Now there are a lot of type of variables. There is a double, there is a int, and then there is a float, and a lot of variable types, basically, like you see over here, int. All right, but what we will be doing is pretty simple. We'll call this an int. Int basically means that it is an integer, and we'll define int y. Now you can C++ basically needs to know that what type of variable you are sending it. All right, so we will use these two variables. Let's remove the C out for now. All right, now there are two options. Either just set the value of x right here. We can set it like, x equals y and y equals 2, and then we can say C out, and then we can say x plus. Now again, no need of any double quotes over here, because we're telling the computer to process this. Now if I was to build this over here, we get 7. All right, now another way would be just defining this as int x and int y, and then later you can just say x equals something like 5. Let's try some other number. Actually, x equals 3 and y equals 2, and then we can say x plus y. Now if I build and run this, it will say 5, just like you expected to. All right, so that's the basics on variables. All right, and now let me just briefly touch on the different types of variables. There are basically a lot of variables out there. There's a double basically allows you to use decimals, and let me show you that. Actually, I think it's float. All right, yeah, so I want you to remove all the code that you have right now except the return 0, and we will start again. All right, so basically double allows you to store things like decimals. Let's say double x equals let's say 3.2 maybe, and then we have double y equals 6.9. Yes. So anyways, we just say C out, and we do x plus y and save it. Now if we run this, we get 10.1. okay, that's pretty sweet. Now in the next video we'll be getting more into we'll actually be building a calculator that can basically add two numbers, and yeah, so I'll meet you there.